Hi, I'm Michelle, and welcome to the Lightwork Restoration channel, hoping to restore light back to the planet. For those of you that don't know me, I am a light worker. I use automatic writing to channel messages from my guides on personal and spiritual development. Those messages can be found in my book series. It's Not a Chore, It's Evolution. The first two books of this series are already available in the US and internationally. You can find a link below in the bio and the description. Starting in February, the messages I was receiving changed content to address what was happening with society globally, with the planetary ascension process, the shift to the 5D grid, and New Earth. I found that these messages were in alignment with what other channelers were receiving at the time, but rephrased how my guides address things, which is coming from a place of love, shifting your perspective, and finding the light instead of being pulled into the darkness. I felt it was best to share these messages to help others navigate during these troubling times, which is why I started this channel. We're going to start with the messages from February, which address history repeating itself and the battle between light and dark and how to come out the other side. So let's get started. Repetition is how information starts to become part of the subconscious. This is how religions and brainwashing work. You keep repeating the same values or information until they feel like it's the truth and are no longer questioned. This is how dictatorships work. They limit the information available and only provide what they want the people to believe. They control the narrative. This is why education and logical reasoning are so important. When you're highly educated, you'll realize what's going on and not allow it to affect you. You don't have to accept the information you are given. Always question it. Find its source, who it's benefiting, and if it's true. The dumbing down of society is how you get them to fall in line to subjugate them. In more advanced civilizations, you'd want higher education and logical thinking to be available. It allows everyone to explore what they are good at to contribute to the whole and fix problems. It allows everyone to have a say and be heard. Everyone is then able to understand what is happening, ask questions, and sort out the logic and reasoning behind things. You must be wary of a society that removes the focus from educating its people or limits the information and sharing of ideas that is available to the masses. This is how subjugation begins. Distribution of wealth also plays a part in that hierarchy. If you remove the resources and create scarcity, then the masses need to rely on those with means and those in charge. They no longer have free will or are able to change things to better their lives. This forces the masses to resort back to survival mode, which makes them desperate and more susceptible to the things they would normally not participate in, like theft, war, menial jobs, and cutting corners. These scenarios have been repeated in the past. This is how thriving civilizations started to fail. This is where repetition in education would be of value. If the masses understood these concepts and what they led to, they would then see the signs and prevent repeating the past events that were not favorable. But those events are relayed not from a learning perspective, but from a view that is benefiting those who allow the stories to be shared. It is full of interpretation and bias, not the facts. It's individual stories, not the overall. Always question what is provided to you. Only allow repetition to be used for learning, not for brainwashing. You must question anything that doesn't make sense in your personal life or the world around you. You can't change how quickly someone learns or understands concepts. You also can't control what their perspectives, belief system, or expectations blind them from seeing. You can teach others or explain concepts, but if they aren't open to the truth or the change, then they will continue to keep their blinders on and make excuses rather than take accountability. This is why you must learn what you have control over. It's no use getting frustrated over someone else and their choices, even if it negatively impacts you. That is not something you can control. What you can control is how you respond in the next steps. You must focus on your part, not anyone else's. They have their own role to play and their own consequences for their actions. Find what you can do and find those around you that also see the truth and have concerns. There will always be those that want change and those scared of it, those open to the truth and those that ignore it. There will never be a time when everyone sees and understands everything the same way. However, there will always be those who understand and are willing to help. Find your community in times of need. There is more that can be done when you come together than when you are torn apart. You must remember those in charge are able to continue unopposed when they divide the masses against each other. If the masses are too busy fighting among themselves, then their focus isn't on the bigger picture and what's happening behind the scenes. Look back at the past and how scenarios arose and what those results were. Notice what happens to the different oppositions and what finally fixed the issues. There's a lot to learn if you pay attention to the correct details. Nothing is ever new, it's just a different version of what has been there before. Find the similarities and plan accordingly. You don't have to be blind to something just because others don't see. Realize there are always lessons to learn and improvements to be made. Even in the darkest time, there's something on the horizon to break through the clouds and allow the light to shine. As much as repeating the past provides you with an outlook that might seem bleak, you must remember that there has been growth since then. There are those that recognize the patterns and won't allow the outcome to take hold. Knowing the results allows you to prepare accordingly to resolve things before they get to that point. The more people that have their blinders removed, the more that can be mobilized to resolve things. When it comes to civilizations, you must remember safeguards were put into place with other countries being able to intervene on behalf of the world and those agreed values of humanity. This can also be learned from the past. How often have outside forces come in to help defuse a situation or put a new government into place when they notice citizens are being the victims of their government? You must realize that there are more players in the game than the ones you are seeing. There is a lot happening and mobilizing behind the scenes and in different realms to help usher in the positive outcomes that need to arise from the problems coming to the surface. Once everyone sees the snake shed its skin, they become aware of the dangers and can remove the blinders and set up solutions. It is still a process, and there are transitions and actions that cannot be prevented to get from point A to point B. This might not be the path that benefits everyone, but it is still a path that leads to a new destination. Where that destination is depends on how everyone comes together, how quickly action is taken, and when the blinders are removed from the enablers. There is always something that you can do and a way to help. Find where your strength is and what you are being called towards. You are all here at this time for a reason. Find yours and let your light shine. You don't have to be afraid of what is happening in the world around you. That fear is how they gain control over you. Though you might not like the direction things outside are taking, you don't have to give in to the experiences or view things as negative. Negative and positive are just a perspective of experience. Everything is neutral and just happening. You get to choose how you experience it, where you place your value, and what lessons you take away. Though your values see loss as bad and your empathy allows you to relate to those that are going through unexpected changes, you must realize that's all it is: change. Throughout history, there have been constant rounds of these changes that groups of people have gone through. In any transition, there are those that lose something as others gain something. Sometimes evolution has more benefits, and sometimes it removes valuable traditions and beliefs. You would not be where you are with the outlook that you have if not for what came before. Your country has explored and built after a series of these transitions, changes, and cultural takeovers. It's almost a way of life. There are those that have learned from it and now seek peace and want to allow cultures to remain, as they find value and curiosity in the differences. However, there are still those that believe their values, beliefs, and traditions are the only way and want others to confirm to make them more comfortable and validated. They push and prove that they are right, no matter how it affects others. That's where the friction comes from. Sometimes you need to let them live through what their belief system created. This could cause them to start to grasp the effects of their actions on a larger scale. Sometimes they still don't learn and are unwilling to evolve and change with society. You can't change others, you can only control how you react and what you learn by proxy. Don't allow fear to prevent you from seeing the light. That fear comes from the hope that these days of intolerance were coming to an end. But sometimes what lays hidden needs to be seen to be healed. This is just how healing is unfolding. Changes on a large scale are very difficult, especially when you fought so hard to feel safe and to have what feels like a sense of control over your individual life. Feeling safe sometimes looks like predictability and knowing what's happening so you can prepare accordingly. But safety doesn't have to be stagnant. You must find a way to feel safe no matter what the outside world is doing and how it affects you. Being in control does not equal safety. That's just your comfort zone. The world and life will always change and be in flux. That's the only constant. You must find a way to feel safe within yourself no matter what else is happening. Understand that no matter what, others cannot force you to believe or view things in a way that is not true for you. Your mind is always yours. Your choices are always yours. Who you surround yourself with and your actions are yours. Your time here is just that, time here. It's an experience. It can have ups and downs. It's about learning and evolving. No matter what happens, this experience eventually comes to an end. When and how is always the unknown. It's the anticipation and regrets that create fear. However, there is nothing to fear on the other side. Find a different perspective of what life is giving you if you don't find it favorable. Find where you still have it easier when others might not. Always find something to be grateful for. There is always something good if you look hard enough. Don't let the consequences of others' actions overshadow what it is you want to do or what you came here to share. You can always be a light to help others even in the darkest times. Even if you feel scared to shine, that's when you need to do so. Others need to know that light still exists. Be brave and share your gifts. It's the best way to keep hope alive.